London, 1975 feels quieter than usual. Inside Abbey Road Studios, four men sit surrounded by silence, the kind that used to be filled with laughter and light. Pink Floyd is at the height of fame, yet something is missing. The room feels colder, as if haunted by a ghost no one dares to name. Could they're trying to make a record about absence, about someone who isn't there anymore? Syd Barrett, their lost friend, their fallen star. His madness had taken him far from the stage, yet his shadow still lingers in every note, in every pause. Between the hum of the machines and the weight of memory, a guitar begins to breathe, slow, fragile, almost human. The melody feels like a whisper to the past, like a conversation across time. Fame brought them everything, except peace. But sometimes what's broken sings the loudest. Wish You Were Here wasn't just written for Syd. It was written for everyone who's ever missed someone they can never get back. Stay until the end, and you'll understand why this song still feels alive. The idea began not with sound, but with silence. Roger Waters and David Gilmour sat for hours, lost in the emptiness of success. The band had conquered the world with the dark side of the moon, yet the price was detachment. From fans, from each other, from themselves. One day, Gilmour picked up his guitar. Just 4 notes. Simple, aching, suspended in time. Waters looked up. In that moment, they didn't need words. They both knew what it meant. They were writing for Syd, and maybe for the versions of themselves they had already lost. The studio air turned heavy with ghosts. The lyrics came like confessions. We're just 2 lost souls swimming in a fishbowl year after year. Every note was both a farewell and a question. What happens when the dream you chased finally forgets who you are? They weren't chasing another hit. They were trying to find their humanity again. Through music. Through grief. Gilmour later said it felt like speaking to someone who couldn't answer anymore. But maybe the silence was the answer. Sometimes creation is not about invention, it's about remembering what was once real. Not everyone understood. The record label wanted another blockbuster, another dark side. They didn't want melancholy, they wanted momentum. It's too slow, they said. Too personal. But Pink Floyd was no longer interested in pleasing charts or executives. They were writing from a place beyond commerce, from pain. Waters refused to make music that lied. He wanted Wish You Were Here to feel raw, imperfect, human. In an era of glam and spectacle, they chose sincerity. The process wasn't easy. The sessions dragged on for months, tense and haunted. Some days, no one spoke. The band barely functioned as friends. Yet, through that tension, something honest was born. A rebellion against artifice. When the executives demanded more energy, Gilmour only smiled. It's not meant to move your feet. It's meant to move your soul. In the quiet defiance of those words, Pink Floyd found its truth. Real rebellion doesn't need to scream. It just refuses to forget what matters. Wish You Were Here wasn't a protest. It was a prayer. A reminder that even in a world obsessed with noise, silence can be the loudest sound of all. When the album was finally released, it felt like the world stopped to listen. There were no fireworks, no marketing storm, just a soft melancholy that spread like smoke. Radio DJs, expecting another rock anthem, were silent for a few seconds after the song ended. Then, one said softly, "Let's play that again." Listeners called in from across cities, asking the same thing. Who is this song for? No one could quite explain it. It wasn't a typical love song. It wasn't protest or nostalgia. It was something deeper, an ache people didn't know they shared. Soldiers, widows, broken friends. Everyone heard a piece of themselves in it. The song became an emotional bridge between generations. In smoky dorm rooms, in car radios at night, it played like a confession the world had been waiting to make. The industry didn't know what to do with something so quiet, so vulnerable. Yet the truth has a strange way of surviving. It travels by heart, not by chart. And so Wish You Were Here grew, not by hype, but by whispers, by memories passed from one lonely listener to another, by the kind of honesty that doesn't age. The world didn't just hear it, the world felt it, and once you've felt it, you never quite forget. Decades have passed, and yet that opening guitar still feels like an old friend's voice across time. Each generation rediscovers Wish You Were Here and finds new meaning in its sorrow. When fans learned that Syd Barrett, frail, unrecognizable, had once walked into the studio during recording, it became almost mythic. No one recognized him at first. He just stood there, silent, watching. It was as if the ghost had returned to listen one last time. That moment defined the song's eternal paradox, presence within absence. Syd was there, yet already gone. Over the years, the song has played at funerals, reunions, final tours, and quiet nights between friends. It became the universal hymn of longing, not for fame, but for connection. In 2005, when Gilmour and Waters briefly reunited to play it live, the crowd wept. It wasn't nostalgia, it was gratitude for the music that made them feel less alone. The melody drifts through time like a letter never sent, but always received. And somewhere, beneath its chords, you can still hear Syd smiling. Because beauty doesn't need to survive the body that made it. It just keeps echoing, softly, endlessly. Maybe that's why Wish You Were Here still lingers. Not as a song, but as a mirror. It asks quietly, where did the time go? Who do you still think about when the room falls silent? Every chord feels like a heartbeat caught between the past and now. It doesn't demand attention. It waits, patient, gentle, timeless. And when it plays, something inside us listens back. We realize the ones we miss never truly leave. They live inside the spaces between these notes, in the warmth of memory, in the moments we still feel seen. That's the secret Pink Floyd left behind. That music can keep a soul alive long after the world has moved on. If this story stirred something quiet in you, stay with us. Because behind every legendary song lies a human truth waiting to be heard. And when the night gets still and the echoes fade, maybe you'll hear it too. That faint voice saying softly, I'm still here.